I wish I was in Carrickfergus, only for nights in Ballygrand. I would swim over the deepest ocean, only for nights in Ballygrand. But the sea is wide, and I cannot swim over, and neither have I the wings to fly. I wish I had a handsome boatman to ferry me over, my love and I. My childhood days bring back sad reflection of happy times there, so long ago. My boyhood friends and my own relations have all passed on now, like melting snow. So I'd spend me days in this endless roving, soft is the grass and my bed is free. Oh, to be home now in Carrickfergus, on that long windy road down to the sea. Now in Kilkenny it is reported on marble stone there, as black as ink, with gold and silver I would support her, but I'll sing no more now till I get a drink, 'cause I'm drunk today and I'm seldom sober. A handsome rover from town to town. Oh, but I'm sick now. My days are numbered. So come all ye young men and lay me down. Well, it was early Friday morning, I was cycling into town. Me front wheel, it was wobbling, me mudguard hanging down. The two legs of me trousers were tied up with binder twine. But me pension book 'twas telling me a pint 'ud soon be mine. How are you, Mr. Murphy? Said the postal clerk to me. Beggar, says I'm not too bad for a man of 73. But a fox came to me house last night and stole me only duck. I sure buy a lottery ticket now and it might change your luck. Well, I took the little girl's advice and I handed her £1. Outside I scratched the old ticket with a penny that I found. Oh, I nearly dropped me trousers as I was standing there, when I realized I was a bloody millionaire. Oh, no more tin and turnips now, or no more feeding calves. One kick of me hobnail boot, the old bike was in two halves. I headed for the local, for I was feeling great. And friends I never met before came in to celebrate. Well, it wasn't too long after that, new clothes on me back, a big red car outside the door, and a telephone on the rack. The wife was sporting blonde curls where the grey ones used to be, and the Welleton track had disappeared from just below her knee. Well, I sat there admiring a new dress that she wore, and the lovely set of false teeth she installed the day before. I held her oh so tightly, like when I was a groom, and we looked rich and handsome as we waltzed around our room. Oh, 'twas then I got an awful fright as I opened up one eye, when I saw me poor old missus. Well, I surely thought I'd die. With her big grey head of curlers, oh, she nearly made me sick. "Get up," says she, "and milk the cow, you raving lunatic." Oh, 'twas only then I realized that it was just a dream. The old calves were bawling in the shed, and the cat was at the cream. The two legs of me trousers still tied up with binder twine. But 'twas lovely while it lasted, that winning dream of mine. Yeah. Lovely Mary Ann, you're the dream of any man, with your laughing eyes and captivating smile. Lovely Mary Ann, let me love you while I can. Come and listen to me sing for you a while. I was playing my guitar in a dirty Dublin bar, when first I saw you look at me and smile. But the gig, it didn't last, and the summer went so fast. But the love we had still lingers in my mind. How can I forget the moment that we met, or the life that might have been for you and me? It's only now I know I should have let the music go, but love blinded me so much I couldn't see. Lovely Lovely Mary Ann, you're the dream of any man, with your laughing eyes and captivating smile. Lovely Mary Ann, let me love you while I can. Come and listen to me sing for you a while. Now I'm 63 years old, and I know that I've been told, don't ever leave the best things in your life. But that was 40 years ago, and how was I to know you were the one I should have made my wife? And if I saw you today, would it matter anyway? Would I recognize your captivating smile? I still see you, Mary Ann, every time I sing this song, but it's only in the dreams of the soul man. Lovely Mary Ann, you're the dream of any man, with your laughing eyes and captivating smile. Lovely Mary Ann, let me love you while I can. Come and listen to me sing for you a while. Come and listen to me sing for you a while. Yes, it's only in the dreams of the soul man. It was in the last election that me brother he got in. Always fond of politics, so the seat we knew he'd win. We canvassed all the neighbours, fair ones big and small, and they all gave him their number one, so now he's in the Dáil. The first day that me brother went to sit in Parliament, whatever the devil come over him, he got into an argument. He criticised the Labour bench, Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, and he told them Maggie Thatcher she would one day rule the Dáil. Me brother, he is a TD, me boy, so everything is free. He got me mother the pension, and she's only 53. He built a grand new house for us, and he let the old one fall, for it wasn't up to date enough for a member of the Dáil. On a recent trip to Dublin, he brought home a lovely wife. She's the finest girl you've ever seen in all your born life. The three of us sleep together, I'm the nearest to the wall, and half of the time she doesn't know which one is in the Dáil. Me brother, he is a TD, me boy's popular too, I think. The only thing that's wrong with him, he's taken to the drink. He stays out in the pubs all night and he doesn't come home at all. But the girls cannot touch him, for they know he's in the Dáil. He doesn't know A from B, me boy, for he didn't get too much school. Sure, that's no disadvantage in this country as a rule. I doubt if he'll go to heaven when he gets that final call. For St. Peter knows the gangsters who are up there in the Dáil. Dáil, you, Toba.
Good one.
It was on one bright March morning, and I took the road to Jackson Town, fortune to renew. I cursed all foreign money, for no credit could I gain, which filled me heart with longing for the days of launch train. Oh, I stepped on board a railroad car, morning sun, and I rode the roads till evening, then I laid me down again. All strangers there, no friend to me, till a dark girl towards me came. Then I fell in love with a Creole girl by the legs of Punch train. I said, my pretty Creole girl, money here's no good. If it weren't for the alligators, I'd sleep out in the wood. You're welcome here, kind stranger, though our house is very plain. We never turn a stranger out on the banks of Punch train. So she took me into her nanny's house. She treated me quite well. Oh, the hair up on her shoulders and jet black ringlets fell to try and paint her beauty, I'm sure be in vain. So handsome was that Creole girl on the legs of Punch train. So I asked her if she'd marry me. She said it never could be, for she had got another, and he was far at sea. She said that she would wait for him, and true she would remain until he returned for his Creole girl by the legs of Punch train. So fare thee well, my Creole girl, I'll never see you more, but I'll never forget your kindness in that cottage by the shore, and at each social gathering a flowing glass I'll drain. I'll drink a health to that Creole girl and the legs of Punch train. Yes, I'll drink a health to that Creole girl and the legs of Punch train.
Well, hello everyone, how are you? Anyhow, it's not too bad of a day out there. Where I live in Trepassey, we get a lot of fog, and it's good in some ways. Anyway, today is fine, but we're going to get a downpour. You want to have your dory ready soon. Anyhow, where I grew up was in a little community called Branch St. Mary's Bay, and over the years, my parents have told me so many stories, and that was before the lights even came to Branch back in 1965. I heard so many things from my parents and people that come by, and that's the way the entertainment went. But today is way different now, and all the ghost stories and everything else you hear, people say, oh, that's all made up. But no, it's not. I strongly believe in spirits, and growing up in a small community, you share all kinds of experiences, and over the years I've had some experiences myself. So the ghosts didn't just go away when the electric came, they're still here. And you know, with all the deaths that occurred and disasters, even down off at Trepassey where all the sunken vessels are, you know, these passengers and sailors and just went down, never to see their families again. And they have a lot of unfinished things. They want to reach us. They sometimes give us signs and we don't see it. We don't want to see it. We ignore it. But there's still things happen that are there. We just have to be open to it. But anyway, I believe strongly animals can see and hear things too. And you just have to have a good relationship with animals to understand them and their behaviour. I worked for years at Cape St. Mary's around seabirds. And I'll tell you this one. It was late fall, and I was looking out for a duck that was on the endangered list then. It was called the Harlequin duck, or lords and ladies they're called. And they wintered in a place where my mother grew up. Golden Bay is a remote place. It's about probably 3 or 4 kilometres from Cape St. Mary's, and to walk it you had to trim along a sheep path on the cliff. And the cliffs are probably around 300 and 400 feet in places, and I wanted to get out early this morning, so I left before daylight. And if you have been out on the Cape Shore and the open barrens out around Cape St. Mary's, you can see for miles. But anyway, it was real clear morning, and I knew it was going to be a nice day. And I was on my way past Bird Rock Cove, and just thinking on getting to the Harlequin ducks, because at the time there was an oil spill, and I was worried that some might have got involved in the oil and it would kill them, like just a spot the size of a dime would kill a bird. So that was on my mind, making sure they were probably safe. But as I was walking along the cliff top, I looked up towards the country because something caught my eye, a light. And, you know, I found it sort of strange where it was too, because it was right out on the open barrens. And I figured then it must be an ATV coming down. There wasn't many ATVs around then, but that's probably a hunter, I figured, you know, coming down. So I went to the top of the ridge to take a better look, and when I got there, I see this light coming toward me, and it wasn't an ordinary light, like it had rays strung out from it, which I couldn't understand why this was going on and what I was seeing. Like the rays were about 25 feet, all in a circle and coming. And there was a center point too, but it kept coming toward me. And I noticed then that it wasn't going up and down like an ATV would on the barrens. It was just smooth. It's coming right at me. And as it kept getting closer, I got worried, trying to figure out what was I looking at, what was I seeing. So I ducked down under the ridge, and I still could see the beams of light in the sky, but as I riz up over the ridge again and looked, and this was even closer, I'd say it was no more than 100 feet from me, and I got frightened then. I got scared because I didn't understand what I was looking at. So at that moment then, I said a prayer. I said three Hail Marys, and with that, daylight broke, and this light just shot off to a place called Lear's Cove, where there was shipwrecks occurred years ago. And I just said a prayer for those souls. And after that went, I was relieved, but I said to myself, I'm going to continue on to Golden Bay. And I went on down there, and I found out that the Harlequin docks were okay, and I checked the beach, but that light was on my mind the whole day. And coming up for evening, then I left and went back to Cape St. Mary's. The lighthouse keeper there was Vince Keogh, and I always used to have a chat with Vince every time I went out to the Cape. But I told him about this light that I seen, and what a relief it was to me when he said, I sees that every now and then, and the location where I give him and the description, he see it. So I was so happy someone else see it, but we didn't know what it was. And there's people after going out to Golden Bay since then, and some got drove out of it. They see this ball of light coming down the river. And even in Golden Bay, like that's where my mother and their family lived, there's so many strange things occurred there. And still today, like to stay there overnight, you wouldn't be alone. There's people I know had got drove out of it. They couldn't stick it. And there's so many other things happened. But, everywhere you go, but like I said too, with animals, they really see things that we don't. And for example, like when I was in Trepassey there a couple of years ago, I had Newfoundland ponies, and I used to have them out around down near the harbour, and wherever there was some meadow grass, I'd tie them on there, and they'd be feeding there for most of the day. But I remember one evening I went to go move the horses, get them closer to home, and as I was stopping by this old sawmill, the horses really got stressed and worried, and the look on them, like I knew there was something going on with them. They were feeling or seeing something I didn't, and they were looking right in the doorway of the sawmill, and one of the ponies, Princess, got really anxious, started lashing and jumping, and there was no noise, no wind, but staring in the doorway of that old sawmill. And I got, worried what was going on. So I went up to the Princess, tied her on, and she really was unsettled. And then the others started to act up too, Queenie and Duchess. But they were really didn't want to go near that sawmill doorway. They were all staring. So I had to find out what was going on, and I walked up to the sawmill, and when I looked in there, you may not believe this, but there was a board about 3 feet off the floor of the sawmill, and it was just waving. And I never see no one in there, but quickly drew back and got the horses to settle down. And there was another man up on the road looking down, wondering what was going on with the horses, getting so frightened and standing on their hind legs and lashing. But I had to get them out of that yard. Whatever was there didn't want the horses there for sure. And about a week after, I had the horses down there near that site after that, and there was a shed door that it banged so loud when I crossed that land. And I heard that there was a man died no length before this in that area. But he didn't want the ponies there. So I never took them there after that. And even with the dogs I had over the years, like one time I was outside a branch in a place called Gold Cove, duck hunting. And I used to love just hunting alone, not for what ducks I brought home, but I used to love the hunting and being alone out there in the wilderness. And if I got a duck, I'd be happy, but it wasn't throughout. It was eating, it was fresh meat, and that's how you survived. But today, you know, we overdo it with automatic guns and speedboats, and I think, you know, we're taking too much. However, the day that I went to Gold Cove, coming over around, like it's about probably 3 hours walk, trimming the cliff, and I had my dog with me, Shep. He was a black lab crossed with a German Shepherd, and what a dog he was. But he used to stick close to me wherever I went, and this evening coming up through a place called the River Styx, like is haunted, and the spirits there. And fairies have been seen there, but I feel every time I go through, like there is something there, and you just have to respect it. Don't go looking, just keep on the path, keep going. I've never got harmed there or anything, but this day coming up through with the dog, the wind started to come from the eastern, and it was getting late, and I knew, like, my family would be concerned if I was too late. They'd send out a search party if you didn't show up. So I was walking up this path, and I came to a spot called the Little Meadow, and just as I crossed the gully, the dog stopped in his track. And I was wondering, you know, what he see, and he wouldn't budge. And I used to call him, come on, Shep, come on. And no way, he just stood there in that one position looking straight ahead, and he was seeing something that I couldn't. And I looked all around and thought it might be a moose or something that crossed the path. And I went ahead about probably 100 feet or so looking, and there was nothing there. And I kept going back to Shep, calling him, and he wouldn't budge. And then he started getting more vicious about it. Like, he started growling, and the hair on the back of his neck was stood straight up. And I got kind of worried then, because I wasn't seeing anything, and he wasn't changing his point of movement, like straight ahead on the path. And I was there for about, I suppose, 10, 15 minutes in that one spot, and he wouldn't move. So with that, I said maybe a prayer might help. So I said a prayer, and with that, the dad came right down, and I moved ahead, and the dad came. So I carried on to Branch, but that place, every time I go through it, I know something there. And along with that, you know, Mother used to be telling me, you know, growing up about tokens and fetches and seeing things. Like, she told me about seeing a good friend of hers in a few days. She was dead, and she see her walk by the window. And I believes in seeing and feeling and getting signs, but it always happens, and we ignore it. And there's so many other things happened. It's too early in the day to be telling this. I likes it late in the night, and a few drinks will help too, and the hard stuff here, the water. But along with everything else, there's a time I want to share with you too. When I was first going out with my wife, Janice, dating, I used to go to Placentia and we'd go to the dance there. But on the Cape Shore Road then, if you were ever driving it, you know, back then it was all dirt road and the hills going up and down and on out to Branch Country. It takes a bit of time going through then, but wonderful scenery. But anyhow, that night I left to come home. I'd say it was about 2:30 and or so. I was driving out to Cape Shore, and it was fog hanging down. So I had to take my time, and as I was crossing Branch Country, I came to a place called Green Hill. That's about halfway across. And when I was coming down Green Hill, there's a second little dip going up the other side, and all of a sudden I see this figure standing up on the shoulder of the road, and I said, oh Jesus, some fella's broke down now. I have a flat tire. He's looking for help. But as I started to drive up a little more closer, I see this greyish form of a man. And when I got to my door, he had no head. I didn't know what else to do but right to the floor, like that, with the gas pedal. Now, there's racks flying yet, I would say, but I never stopped. I got home in Branch and hauled up in the yard, nearly broke down the fence. And I didn't tell no one for a couple of days because they say you were nuts or something was wrong. And after a while, I told my best friend, you know, what I seen. And he said, oh Jesus, why don't go tell no one that? And I said, no, why, but I had to tell you. And the next day, everyone in Branch knew it. So I found out afterward through another friend of mine that the truck driver, Mr. Leo English of Branch, who used to bring all the supplies for the community, like food and lumber, he was, after seeing that, the same thing, the headless man out in Branch Country. And I was so relieved, so glad someone else see it. But that happened now around the middle of July at 3 o'clock in the morning. So if you ever go there, you better watch it and don't pick him up. All right, that's about it.